Welcome to African Icons. Today we'll be discussing the rise and fall of Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was born in 1909 in a small town called Nkroful in the western region of Ghana, which is then known as the Gold Coast, which was under British colonial rule. Kwame's father Opanyin was a goldsmith, while his mother Elizabeth was a retail trader. Kwame Nkrumah's early education laid the foundation for his intellectual and political development. He commenced school at a Roman Catholic elementary school near his birthplace of Nkroful. He was said to be a bright student who caught the attention of his teachers, particularly Reverend Alec Fraser, a Scottish missionary who later recommended him for further education. Kwame Nkrumah was later admitted to the prestigious Achimota School, which boasts of an alumni consisting of prominent figures such as Edward Akufo-Addo, father of Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, John Atta Mills, and Robert Mugabe. Nkrumah received teacher training there and proceeded to graduate in 1930 and went on to teach at multiple Catholic schools in the Gold Coast. During his years as a teacher, Nkrumah became increasingly interested in Black history, liberation, and Pan-Africanism, which he later became immensely renowned for. He also began writing, giving speeches, and reading works by Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Karl Marx, which profoundly shaped his political thinking. With major encouragement from his mentors and a growing desire to combat colonialism intellectually, Nkrumah saved money and embarked on a journey to the United States in 1935, a pivotal turning point in his life. In 1935, Nkrumah traveled to the United States to pursue further education. He enrolled at Lincoln University, a historically black college, which was situated in Pennsylvania. He obtained a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Sociology, followed by a Bachelor of Theology. Later, he pursued a Master of Science in Education and a Master of Arts in Philosophy at the University of Pennsylvania. While studying, Nkrumah became deeply immersed in Pan-Africanism, socialism, and anti-colonial activism. He joined black civil rights groups and collaborated with figures such as W.E.B. Du Bois, C.L.R. James, and George Padmore. He also organized the Pan-African National Congress, which took place in Manchester in the United Kingdom in the year 1945 and was attended by prominent African national figures such as Kenya's Jomo Kenyatta, Kamuzu Banda was from Malawi, then known as Nyasaland, and Obafemi Awolowo from Nigeria. The Congress was instrumental in building a unified front for African liberation. In London, he honed his vision for an independent, united Africa founded on socialist principles. While in London, he took up a legal degree at Gray's Inn Court, a prestigious inn court where barristers are trained. However, he did not complete the law degree, primarily due to his evolving involvement in political activism. In 1947, Nkrumah was invited back to the Gold Coast by the United Gold Coast Convention, also known as the UGCC Party, to serve as a general secretary, which signaled the genesis of his direct role in the independence struggle of Ghana. The United Gold Coast Convention was the first major political party in the British colonial Gold Coast. It demanded and agitated for self-governance from British colonial rule. The party was founded in August 4, 1947 in Salt Pond. Its founding members included J.P. Dankwa, who was a prominent lawyer and barrister, Pa Grant, a wealthy merchant who funded the party, Edward Akufo-Addo, a future Chief Justice and President of Ghana, William Ofori-Atta, and Kofi Busia. These leaders became known as the Big Six. The main objective of the party was self-government in the shortest possible time. The UGCC pushed for constitutional reforms, a greater African role in governance and political representation, but it was initially moderate and elitist, as it was led predominantly by Western-educated lawyers, merchants, and professionals. Nkrumah joined the party in 1947 as General Secretary. His arrival brought tremendous mobilization, invigoration, and radicalism, but also animosity between him and the more conservative UGCC leadership. Nkrumah's push for immediate independence, mass action, and socialist ideals soon conflicted with the UGCC's gradualist and elite-driven approach. In 1949, Nkrumah split from the party to form his own party, the Convention People's Party, or CPP, which called for self-government now, as opposed to the UGCC self-government in the shortest possible time. While the UGCC had been an elitist movement, the CPP was a broad-based party which appealed to people such as workers, farmers, market women, the youths, and the poor. The CPP's red rooster symbol became a familiar indication of political awakening across the Gold Coast. In January 1950, Nkrumah launched the Positive Action Campaign, which is a nationwide campaign of strikes, boycotts, and protests. The motive of the campaign was to non-violently pressure the British to grant self-rule. This resulted in Nkrumah and other CPP members being arrested and imprisoned for sedition. However, this merely increased his popularity and led to him being viewed as a true man of the people. Despite being incarcerated, Nkrumah was able to run in the 1951 elections, which was the first election under the new constitution that was introduced by the British. The CPP emerged as the victors after winning the elections in a landslide fashion. Nkrumah became a member of parliament, and the colonial authorities had no other choice but to release him. On February 12, 1951, Nkrumah was released and appointed as leader of government business, which effectively made him prime minister of the colony. Over the next years, he gained control over internal governance as constitutional reforms continued. Some of his achievements during this period included expanding education and infrastructure, strengthening the civil service, and perpetuating his push for total independence from Britain. Finally, on March 6, 1957, the Gold Coast achieved its independence and its name was changed to Ghana after an ancient empire located in Mali, and Nkrumah became the first prime minister of the country. At the independence ceremony, he made a famous remark in which he stated that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of the continent. Nkrumah became the first prime minister of the newly independent Ghana, and later in 1960, when Ghana's constitution was passed, he became the first president. Nkrumah launched an ambitious campaign to modernize and industrialize Ghana, driven by socialist and Pan-African ideals. His key achievements include a massive investment in education, as he built hundreds of new schools and opened the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He launched infrastructure projects like roads, railways, and housing. He also launched the Akosombo Dam, which was aimed at generating hydroelectric power for a modern economy. Nkrumah promoted African unity, as he was integral in the formation of Organization for African Unity in 1963. Nkrumah also positioned Ghana as a beacon of African liberation, as he provided support for African liberation movements such as Amilcar Cabral's PAIGC movement, and advocated for a United States of Africa, a single African state. But his bold Pan-African vision came with a high cost, both economically and politically. As pressure began to mount and dissent increased, Nkrumah's government became increasingly oppressive. In 1958, his government passed a statute known as the Preventative Detention Act, which enabled his government to detain any individual for a period of up to 5 years without trial to prevent subversionary activities. The 1960 Constitution also concentrated substantial power to Nkrumah, as it enabled him to dissolve parliament and have control of appointments in the judiciary and civil service. 1964, Ghana officially became a one-party state. Despite early progress, Ghana's economy started to decline as expensive state projects and Pan-African aid depleted national coffers. Falling cocoa prices, which was Ghana's main export, began to decrease, and government revenue and corruption and mismanagement and eroded confidence. All this culminated in the 1966 coup, which toppled Nkrumah's government. The coup occurred when Nkrumah was on a peace mission in Vietnam. The coup was perpetrated by a faction in the army known as the National Liberation Council. Nkrumah was granted asylum in Guinea by fellow President Pan-Africanist Ahmed Sékou Touré. Sékou Touré made him co-president of the country. Nkrumah died of cancer in 1972 in Romania. Kwame Nkrumah's story is one of triumph, vision, and controversy. He led Ghana to become the first sub-Saharan African country to break free from colonial rule, inspiring liberation movements across the continent. His belief in Pan-Africanism made him more than a national leader. He became a symbol of African unity, independence, and destiny. He envisioned a continent united, industrialized, and standing proudly on its own, free from Western influence. Though his dream of a United States of Africa was never realized, it continues to echo in the aspirations of modern African leaders and the African Union. But Nkrumah's role was also marked by authoritarianism, economic mismanagement, and the silencing of dissent. His shift to one-party rule and the use of the Preventative Detention Act damaged the democratic ideals he once stood for. Still, time has softened many criticisms. Today, Nkrumah is remembered not just as Ghana's founding father, but as one of Africa's most influential thinkers and leaders. His statue stands tall in Independence Square, Accra. His writings are still studied in universities. His visions live on in debates about African self-reliance, decolonization, and unity. Kwame Nkrumah may have fallen from power, but his dream of a free, united, and self-determined Africa still rises. Thank you for watching. This was African Icons. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.